Welcome to A Perfect Match. I'm Asia, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Jason Reed. Jason, how are you?
Doing great, doing fantastic. Good to be here with you. Good to be talking to our friends out there in the RHAP universe. To hey hi to bring you to call your attention to something very important that's coming up.
Yes, we are so very, very, very excited to announce that Married at First Sight is making the jump over to Peacock. So if you watch the trailers, you watch Love Island, you already have Peacock. So you have no reason not to watch Married at First Sight. It is a show that we've actually been covering on RHAP since season 12. So like I said, season 19 is now on Peacock. So we've been in the trenches for a minute.
Some might call us RHAP's best kept secret. you know, think that's valid.
Yeah.
It's the little show you didn't know was out there that once you watch it, you'll be like, why wasn't I watching this the whole time?
Yeah.
Because this is fantastic, especially if you love shows like Love Is Blind and all the Netflix suite of love dating shows.
Yes, exactly. So if you're like, wait a second, what is Married at First Sight? Let's break it down for you. Imagine Love is Blind. Who doesn't know the concept of Love is Blind, right? But with Married at First Sight, they are starting at the end, where
Yep.
Love is Blind ends in weddings. Married at First Sight begins at the weddings. So brave singles have trusted this group of experts, quote unquote.
We use the air for those just listening. We use the air quotes when we say experts, and we'll tell you why.
These quotes are these singles trust these experts to match them with their, let's say, perfect match, right? And so they go through this process of, personality tests, all these different things to get paired with someone. So when they walk down the aisle, that is their very first time meeting the person that they are matched with, and moments later they say I do. They set out on an 8-week experiment, with the exception of season 11, because that was the COVID year. They set out on an 8-week experiment where they are challenged in different ways with intimacy and communication. And they're basically just trying to see, do I like this person? Can I fall in love with this person? Is this a person I want to stay married to? Because decision day is at the end of the 8 weeks, and they go in and they decide if they want to stay married or get divorced. And sometimes the couples have different decisions. It's not
Yeah, I
something they
mean,
just agree on beforehand.
yeah, that's the best part of it. You go through this 8 weeks, and sometimes you get surprised by decisions, and a lot of times they'll make it juicy where someone will say yes, and then they have to be let down by the other person saying no. So that's the type of mess that I love to engage in, where someone's heart is getting absolutely broken, and we just see the devastation on their face. That's the kind of mess and nonsense I can get into. And something I like to say is, for me, one of these love dating shows, I'm happy if it's 80% mess, 20% love. And I think for the most part, Married at First Sight really kind of delivers that, because a lot of times we'll get this great, shining, golden couple, and then we'll have 4 other couples that are just messes. If you know me, you know that's what I love. And I think that's what you all love too, because let's be honest, you love, but you also love mess like me.
And unlike Jason, I like 50-50. Give me 50% love, 50% drama. I get the importance of drama, but I also want to have a couple to root for. Like a couple that makes you believe that this works, right? Because like with Love is Blind, you start to wonder and you're like, "Wait, love really ain't that blind." Like
Love needs a strong prescription, is what I like to say on Love Is Blind. Okay.
exactly. And so there's a piece of me that just is like, I want to see that this does truly work, because you have shows like Indian matchmaking, where or even like Love on the Spectrum, like they are matching people based on like, oh, this is a person I think would be good for you to like date. Whereas this is a person I think you can take the ultimate commitment with. And it's really interesting to see who dives in, who doesn't. Jason and I have both watched every season of Married at First Sight. So, like I said, Married at First Sight was previously on Lifetime. So, from the first few seasons are on FYI and A&E, but we won't forget about that, because we're going to focus on the present. But basically, a lot of the seasons were on Lifetime. Now we're moving over to Peacock, which gives them an opportunity to change a few things, but it's still going to be true to the show that we know, which is, the core of Married at First Sight.
Yeah, I think the beauty of this experiment is that a lot of these couples are right for each other on paper, right?
Yeah.
Because these experts have looked at different personality quirks of our participants, look at their hobbies, interests, lifestyles, and said, looking at it from a point of view of this person, it seems like they should be okay to be together, right? Right, guys? And then it's finding out if the theory works in practice,
Yeah. Like,
which
will these people allow themselves to like this
right.
person?
Which, if you're someone that has watched Married at First Sight, the track record of Married at First Sight, which honestly is probably pretty close to all the other love shows out there. It doesn't always work, but
Yeah.
the positive point here is when it works really well. The great couples that have come from this show are some of the best couples that I think are on love reality TV shows out there. You think of a Cam. Why am I not remembering her name now from those first season of
Lauren.
Love Is Blind? Lauren and Cam. You think of Lauren and Cam, I think they are
It's
kind
because
of
you
the
call them
pinnacle.
Cam.
I mean,
I feel
that's
like
a nice name.
Lauren and Cameron, just it's beautiful pairing of
Oh
names
yes,
together. But yeah,
Lauren and
Lauren and
Cameron.
Cameron on Love Is Blind season 1. We also have like an iconic couple from season 1 of Married at First Sight, like that
Yeah.
have been together since then. And so for the past 18 seasons, they have still been together. They've grown their family, and we have so many couples along the way. At one point, there were about 12 couples still together, but we have to sprinkle in a few of the recent seasons. So maybe let's say maybe 14 couples have broken up. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
couples from singles from different seasons have gotten together, and
Yeah.
couples.
And singles from the same season have gotten together.
Yep,
Because
gotten together.
let's talk about
Yeah,
it. Let's talk. There are
yep.
some really big moments from Married at First Sight history that if you're like, okay, I'm gonna dive into season 19, but I also want to go back and like watch. But let me just give you let us give you some examples of what could happen, right? Like what we have seen in the past. So as recent as last season, there was a wife in one couple and a husband in another couple who took an attraction to each other. And now they're together to this day.
And you're kind of bearing the lead here. They were found out during the season to have been communicating and other stuff during the season while still married to their partners, and their partners did not know until the wife decided to do a little detective work and had some hunches and intuitions, and then it all just kind of blew up, and that was a huge scandal from the last
Yeah.
season of Married at First Sight.
So that there wasn't infidelity.
Mm-hmm.
There have been couples that have ended before the season, or they ended before decision day even arrived. So hints of Love Is Blind.
Yes, very much so. I mean, listen, I think because for those that don't know, Married at First Sight and Love Is Blind are made by the same production company, and Married at First Sight has been around since 2014. So Married at First Sight is you can say is the genesis, is the seed of Love Is Blind, because it's this experiment where two people that don't really know each other get together and see if it works. That's pretty much Love Is Blind, but we kind of do it, like Aysha said, backwards. We have the marriage first, and then we get to know each other. In Love Is Blind, you have all this time talking to each other through a wall, getting to know interests, getting to know hobbies and whatnot, but there's none of that at Married at First Sight. They are put together knowing absolutely nothing about each other, and then have to go from there. Some other crazy great moments from this show. There was a season once where the wife had a warrant out on her for arrest and went to go to fly for the honeymoon and got detained while trying to leave the country because she had an active warrant out for her arrest. That's the kind of fun nonsense you like. One of the reasons why you might watch a show is the background checks maybe aren't as strong as Love Is Blind. You might get some real interesting characters on this show.
Yes, there was a season where one husband had to tell his new bride, hey, by the way, my ex is pregnant.
Yeah.
Like it's wild, the things that we've seen. We've seen like women not attracted to the man that was at the end of the aisle. We've seen men that just made up every reason under the sun to not be attracted to their wife, but then like continue through the process a little bit and then have to like deal with hey, please be honest about why you're, acting a certain way. There's just
We've
so
had
much.
habitual liars on the show. We've had like a lot. We've had a
Men
season
and
where
women.
men and women.
We've
We've had
had we had a couple decide on decision day to stay married. The next day, they broke up.
yeah, the next, like, not even 24 hours, maybe 12, maybe 13 hours later, they were
Yeah.
done, and they got into a fight right after they made the decision to say yes, which led to the decision the next day to divorce. we've
Yeah.
had we've had a couple where it went so horribly that the wife fabricated a text message saying that her husband had been engaging in a same-sex relationship behind her back, and threatened the husband that she was going to reveal this fabricated text if he did not go along with saying that everything was working in the marriage for the cameras. So that's the type of nonsense and skullduggery you're going to get on this show.
Yeah, they've always find really creative reasons and to not work out.
Mm-hmm.
But there are because they are actually getting married and like signing a marriage certificate. It really depends on the location, because I remember even the Charlotte season, they had to wait a full year before they could get divorced. So it was like not an annulment, it was a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always interesting because they changed up locations, just like Love is Blind. So this season 19, is in Austin, Texas. So I will have a field day pointing out things that I notice on the screen, because I love
You
doing that with
guys,
Love is Blind Austin.
you guys, let me tell you, we've had seasons in the Texas area before, and if you know anything about Asia, Welch, whatever you want to call her, she loves being a tour guide for Texas during the podcast. And she's, oh, I've been to this place, I've been to that place. I remember when I went here to this place and I was there, I saw Bow Wow there, or I saw this person there, or I saw that person there. So that's that. If you know anything about Asia, you know that's what you'll get
God
in this
forbid I
season.
remember the things that have happened in my life.
God forbid you forget all the experiences, all the wealth and luxury that you've had experienced here. But yes, this is shape this season's in Austin, and watching all these seasons also kind of preps you for what you see in other shows. Like Love is Blind is in Denver this season. We knew that things were going to be
Denver's
kooky
a mess.
crazy. Denver's a mess because we had a Married at First Sight season in Denver that was a mess. This is one of the most like was one of the craziest seasons. There was like basically a gender war that broke out within the season, which kind of culminated in a reunion where everyone just kind of screaming at each other, and it was like a middle school dance with the boys on one side and the girls on the other side. So there's all of the craziness you can ask for in this
Yeah.
show. If you think Love is Blind is crazy, you ain't seen nothing yet till you watched some Married First Night seasons.
Right. I can't wait for that's why I'm really excited about this move to Peacock. I know some people feel away, but I'm excited because I feel like it'll get more eyes on the show, more conversation happening. I feel like it's this underground secret that we have this great Facebook community. You can find us at A Perfect Match Podcast, and we do require a password, so just put in a password like why you should watch. No, say I'm watching season 19. That's what you should say, and we'll let you in. But over 1,000 people in that Facebook community where we talk about the show, we talk about the episodes, and I think being on Peacock, more and more people will watch it. We may see people on TikTok having opinions. That'll be cool because that's an even wider audience. I just feel like Married at First Sight is such an entertaining show that I'm really glad that this move might bring more eyes to the show. But like I said, this is season 19, and we have 5 couples. They're bringing back 3 of our experts. So we have Dr. Pepper, Pastor Cal, and Dr. Pia, who have been with us for the past. Dr. Pepper has been there since season 1. Pastor Cal, maybe like season
4.
6, 4. Okay, yeah, 4. And then Dr. Pia joined a few seasons ago. So nice little trio of experts. And I think it'll be interesting. We don't know a lot about these people yet. There is a preview that was posted on Peacock if you want to go check it out, of the first wedding. Not too exciting.
I mean, yeah, it was an interesting preview where it's basically just the wedding. It's kind of a it's your run of the mill MAFS wedding. The people see each other. They for the first time they exchange vows. They go. One of the most interesting parts for me is when the couple leaves the altar, goes to sit down in a little secluded space where they can get to know each other. And for me, it's fun to see what are the first questions you have for someone that you just met who you're now married to. Like, what do you want to know about this person first and foremost? It's like, where do you live? What's your age? I think is one of the things that the wife asked the husband on the preview. What do you do for a living? So it's really interesting to see how these people get to know each other. Yeah, do you have kids? Like, and so it's interesting to see how these people get to know each other from moment one. You get to see that magic moment where they see each other at the altar for the first time, and to see and to kind of try and gauge on their face, like, are they attracted to this person? I mean, that's a big staple of Married at First Sight. It's like, what's the reaction
Yeah,
when you see
it's
them?
like the reveal, but spread out, because the reveal on Love Is Blind, because you get that moment where they're really excited, but the whole wedding, they have to sit there and look at this person like, okay, am I attracted? Am I going to give a kiss?
Yep.
When it's time
Another
to say
big moment.
that's always a big moment. Yeah.
Will the bride let the groom kiss her? Will the groom ask for consent to kiss her? Will he just try to go for it? We've had people where the groom tries to go for a kiss and the bride swerves him, goes, not yet, gives him the cheek. That's a big thing. Like, is she going to give the cheek or is she going to give the lips? Let's see what happens here.
Sometimes it's a big indicator, sometimes it's not. Usually it's a big indicator if it's like you can tell attraction is like, this is just not going to work out. But with the preview, we saw Will and Brittany. I really like Brittany so far. Will gave shy. He gave, I'm looking at the camera a little bit. So I hope he eases into the filming process so we can get to see like the real Will. But they were cute. They were attracted to each other.
Yeah, I think he'll let his guard down eventually. Of course, I think the great thing here is that this is an 8-week process. I think Love Is Blind, all told, is like a 4 or 5 week, 4 or 5 week process, including pods and after pods. So these people have really a good chance to get to know each other and see if this relationship is going to work out before they have the big decision day, which is a huge part of Married at First Sight. It is the culmination of the process. It is the moment where you decide, like, can I make this work or can I not make this work? It's an ultimate decision time. It is an arbitrary day just made up by the show, but I think 8 weeks is a really good indicator of, can I live with this person for the rest of my life? Or, it's an ending to the experiment to say, well, we tried and it didn't work, or I think we can keep this going. So it's a big moment in the show, and it's presented pretty well by the show itself.
Yeah. And like I said, there's 5 couples, and we're hearing there may be, so they have released the cast, right? They usually go late 20s, 30s, maybe sprinkle in a 40-year-old, right?
Yeah,
like that's your typical the age range.
Yeah, your typical dating show age range.
So, some of those Netflix shows skew way younger, like early 20s. But it's a big deal when it's someone like, 23, 24, then they're like, whoa, are you ready for marriage? But with this, they decided to go older. So of the 5 couples, 2 of them are golden couples. So
listen, thank you, Golden Bachelor, for inspiring a new kind of landscape in the reality TV world of allowing later
older
days
people to date.
Later days participants to join the club and see if they're just as messy as the younger counterparts, which I'm hoping to see, because for, like I said, for the first time, we do have older people in this experiment, older than, I think previously the oldest we ever got was maybe 43. If I'm correct, but now we have people in their 50s and is there 60s? 50s and 60s. So that's going to be a big change from Married at First Sight, and to see how they deal with that. Another interesting thing about Married at First Sight is the cast are very close. They do a lot of group things, similar to a Love Is Blind, where they go on group outings. We kind of get that here, so it'll be interesting to see how the older couples and the younger couples intermix and mingle.
Yeah. And we're also hearing, so that's public knowledge. That's like, if you go to parade.com, there's an article out listing out the couples and their bios, and also Peacock. But we are hearing in the rumor mill that there is potentially a parent and a child that are matched. Or like not matched together.
Not matched together.
No.
It ain't that type of show.
No, but like one of the brides or husbands has a daughter or son that is in another couple. And so I think it'll be really, really interesting to see that dynamic, because it's already one thing to get like your parents buy-in. Like we've seen seasons where parents are like, I want nothing to do with this show. I didn't sign up for it. You did. And so to have your parent in the experiment also doing it, and you having to approve of that being your step parent potentially, like what if y'all get into it? Yeah, I think there's so much potential here.
Yeah, it's going to be wild, and I don't think it's, well, I mean, I'm sure there are literally shows that are kind of centered around relatives being around for dating, but we've never seen it in a mass concept before, where these people are married. You're getting a stepdad, and you're also marrying
Day
your own
yeah.
person. So that's gonna be crazy, and I can't wait to see how it all falls out.
Yeah. So anything else you want people to know? This is our last chance to hook people to watch the show.
Listen, biggest reason you should watch
To
the
listen to us?
podcast. Yeah, me and Aysha. If you know anything about us from our Love is Blind coverage, you know we're going to bring a good time. So for no other reason, you should stick around for us. Not to sound
Right.
too self-aggrandizing, or think my crap don't stink. But I mean, listen, we're here. We're fun. We're having a good time, right? We've
We're
had people
joking
say,
around.
yeah, we've had people tell us I don't even watch the show. I just listen to you guys. So, which is like the highest compliment that could be paid. So
Honestly.
for no other reason, keep track of the show just to listen to our coverage of it. It's I think a big barrier to entry for Married at First Sight before was that there were so many episodes.
Yes.
A one season Married at First Sight used to be about, it varied in length, but it would be on average at least 22 to 23 episodes a season. So that was a pretty big commitment for people to make. So now with Peacock, we have a 14 episode season broken up into 5 different batches. On the 23rd, we're getting 4 episodes. On the 30th, we're getting 3 episodes. And I think we're getting 2, 2, and 1. Does the math even work out that way? I don't know. Or 2, 2, 2, and 1, I think, is how the math breaks out after that. So it's similar, very, very similar to Love is Blind, dropping in batches of different lengths. So I think it's going to be a lot easier for people to digest and to check out. And like I've been saying, there's no reason, if you watch Love is Blind, not to watch Married at First Sight. In this form, in this iteration, because it's a very similar product, and I would say with probably some crazier people. So I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah. And and we've seen the feedback, but unfortunately that does change how we're going to cover the show, because you're dropping it in batches. Our podcasting schedule would not line up with the way these are being released, and we're either going to be way ahead for some people or way behind for other people. So if podcasting was our full-time gig, we got you. We could record all 4 in one day, but unfortunately it's not. So it will change how we're recording things in terms of our coverage of Married at First Sight, because we used to go in such detail, but now we're going to be covering it by the batches. However, we have in the off season launched a Patreon. It's called A Perfect Match Podcast, and we've covered some old seasons. We've done Worst Wives, Worst Husbands, and so this is going to be our place for bonus content throughout the season. So if you do want additional content, we're going to find opportunities to go way more in detail over on our Patreon. Then definitely take a look at that. Look at patreon.com/A Perfect Match Podcast.
Yeah, we're really hoping to make that interactive as well. If you have feedback that you want to ask about, if you have questions about, things going on in the show, how we feel about things going on in the show. And we're also hoping to have some, hoping, not confirmed, guaranteed, hoping to have some past MAFS participants hop on there with us to chop it up and give their experience and how they see how things are going. So we're really planning on having a good time over there on the Patreon, in addition to the usual coverage that you would get here on Robin's podcast.
Yes. So Jason, where can people find you?
You can, I don't do the big social media thing, so don't worry about that. If you want to find some other podcasts that I'm doing and I'm working on, I do have another podcast called The Good Pod. It's a rewatch podcast about The Good Wife. Me and Marissa Garza, we both have an affinity for that show, so we're just like, hey, why not do a podcast about it? So we do that. We also cover the show Elsbeth, which is a Good Wife spinoff on that podcast. So if that tickles your fancy, come on over, and we'd love to have you.
Yeah, and y'all can follow me at Asia like Asia. That's AYSHA like ASIA. And of course, we're talking about the current season of Love is Blind, season 9. And by the time that you are listening to this, we would have had out our recap of episodes 10 and 11. So make sure you check that out. And yeah, other than that, follow me on social media. I'm Asia like Asia on everything. So you can find me. But we really hope you watch the season. We're really excited for season 19. We hope you listen to us, even if you don't watch it. But thank y'all so much, and we'll see you for the premiere of season 19.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.